Hello and welcome back to another one of these short videos on understanding the Bible. I'm going to share a screen with you now. Here we can see a map of the ancient Babylonian Empire. And we were trying to show last week, or the last video, we were trying to show how the Bible proves itself if we allow it to, and how there's lots of evidence in the Bible to prove that it is true and that it is the words of a supernatural power. In the 13th chapter of the prophecy of Isaiah in the Bible, God revealed through him the rise and later on the fall of this great empire of Babylon. Now, this empire covered most of the then known world and ruled over virtually all of the world of the time. And this prediction that this Babylonian Empire would begin and would take over this empire was made around about 739 BC. And we need to realize that this prediction that Babylon would become a major power was made at least 100 years before the event. So when this prophecy or prediction was made, there was no Babylon. However, the prophecy does not only concern the rise of Babylon, but also its overthrow by the Medes and Persians, which was the Medo-Persian Empire later on. And the Medes overthrew Babylon in BC 536. So this prediction was made nearly 200 years before it took place. Now I'm just going to show you a depiction of what this city was like. This ancient city of Babylon. And you can see that this was an amazing city. And it was indeed one of the wonders of the ancient world. Not only did Isaiah tell of the destruction of Babylon through the message he was given by the Almighty, but he said that the city would remain uninhabited and desolate. And you can read that for yourselves in Isaiah 13 and verses 17 to 22. He said it would become a desolate place and never be inhabited again. Now, if we think about what this prophecy actually meant, here we have a depiction of the destruction of Babylon of the time. Because not only did Isaiah speak about what was going to happen to Babylon, but he also gave the name of the king who would overthrow Babylon, a man named Cyrus. And we have that in Isaiah chapter 45. And added to this, Isaiah told of the decree that Cyrus would make, urging Jews scattered in his empire to return to Jerusalem and to build again the temple which the Babylonians had destroyed. And we have that in Isaiah chapter 44. Now these prophecies go far beyond what man can predict. Only God can foretell the future. Or what such a prophecy, consider what such a prophecy would mean in today's world. What you would have to do is, in 2025, you would have to predict what nation would be ruling in the year 2125, 100 years from now. Then you would have to predict the nation that would come and overthrow that power 200 years from now. And not only that, but in the naming of this ruler of the second nation, you would have to say what decree was made when he came to power. So obviously, this is not possible for man to predict. However, God, the Creator, through his prophet Isaiah, did exactly this. So when we examine the scriptures, when we examine this book, we see that God can not only predict the future, but he's able to bring it to pass also with amazing accuracy. Another amazing prophet we have is in the book of Daniel in the Bible. And this prophesies around 600 years before Christ. And Daniel's prophecy speaks of this, but he speaks not only of the Babylonian Empire and the nation or empire that would follow Babylon, the Medo-Persian Empire, but he's also given a vision by the Almighty of all of the empires which would follow after that. So the Greek Empire, Alexander the Great, the Roman Empire, which were the legs of Ireland in this image. And then we have a prophecy about the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in AD 70, how that's going to happen. It goes all the way to the year of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. So we've got a picture of all of history from 600 years before Christ right through the time of Christ. And not only that, but on to this feet of the image, the feet of iron and clay, which is a depiction of what would happen after the Roman Empire, divided nations, which we've had for the last 2,000 years, the divided nations of the feet, made up of feet of iron and clay. Now this particular image, the accuracy of Daniel's image here, has amazed people down through the centuries, even skeptics and people who are atheistic. This image has absolutely amazed everybody. So what God has predicted for the future, and we can read with confidence, knowing that God has fulfilled these prophecies in the past, and that he will just as surely fulfill what he has predicted for the future. And I'm going to show you a brief overview of the type of events that are predicted for our age from 2025 on. So God has predicted, and he will surely fulfill, that the Jews would return to the land of Israel, with Jerusalem becoming the centre of international tension. Now we only need to turn on our televisions each evening to see the fulfillment of this prophecy. And we have that in Zechariah and in Ezekiel, how God would bring them back to the land and would cause all of this international tension. In fact, the phrase that's used is that Jerusalem would become a burdensome stone. You can read about these for yourselves in Zechariah and in Ezekiel. Jesus tells us in the book of Luke that there will be a collapse of morality and decency in society. Once again, we need only turn on our televisions and the news each day to see that this is happening all over the world. But another prediction that's given here is that Jesus would return personally and visibly to the earth. And we have this outlined for us in the book of Acts in the New Testament. In chapter 1, the angels actually say this, that Jesus would come in the same way as you would see him go. But we're told also that God will establish his kingdom on this earth, which will replace man's rule. And this is all part of Daniel's image. If you read Daniel chapter 2, and this verse 44 in particular, you'll see that the culmination of that image is about the fact that man's rule will end and God will take again the rule over the earth. And this kingdom will fulfill the Lord's Prayer for anyone who's familiar with that. For instance, thy kingdom come. That's part of the Lord's Prayer. It's speaking about the coming of that kingdom. In the same prayer it says, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. And it's God's will finally being done on the earth in the same way as it is with his angels when he gives them a command in heaven. It talks about Jerusalem being the capital, the worldly capital of this kingdom. We have that in the book of Jeremiah chapter 3. And very clearly, right the whole way through this book, we're told who the king would be. The descendant of David, the king of Jerusalem. Jesus Christ will be the king of this new kingdom in that day. And in this same book of Isaiah that we spoke about earlier, we're told that in that day the people of the world will willingly learn of God's ways, and there will be no more war. Now, when we turn on again and listen to our televisions each night and the news, all of us are wishing for that to come to pass when we see the mess that the world is in at the moment. So I hope that this video has been helpful. If it has, then please hit the button for subscribing to this channel and share this video with a friend. And we look forward to seeing you with the next video. We also have a Zoom study on Monday evenings where we look at these core teachings of the Bible, and it is open to all. To get the link for this, we just need your email address. See you next time.